Okay, so I have imported another character that I made in the past just to show the connection between the root and the backside attachment points. These are a couple of marine grenades, and you can see they meet right at that point. And I wanted to put these two side by side so you can see where that lines up inside a character. And naturally they're not animating the same, but you can see right there, if they can quit yawning, it's right in the mid back, right at the back of the character. And that's what makes it so difficult to line up, because it becomes near impossible to hide that inside of a visible character. Um, but it's not impossible. It's doable. You just have to work on it. A good example would be Master Chief over here. That's pretty good. And basically, I accomplished this mainly by avoiding that connection completely. So the two parts of that armor do not really touch. Same thing with Darth Vader here. I don't even mess with it. He has his pants and codpiece going on, and then he has his shoulder pads, and the rest is all character. Same thing with the Renguard here. He has his pants and codpiece, and then he has his little upper cyborg portion. And then just to give you an example of the type of thing that you need to do on an invisible character, I have this drone character in between the two, and it doesn't work perfectly, and it has to be kind of large. But if it's a robot doesn't need to look perfect. But those are some different ways that you can try to rectify that problem. Okay, so I'm going to just talk about the root attachment real quick. Generally, what I'm using in that area is this ancient Codian dome. And there's a couple reasons I use this a lot. One is it's just kind of pant or underwear shaped. And two, it gets really small. And it's actually a really useful prop in a lot of different areas for character creation. One problem you run into, though, is that it gets a little low. So if we look at it, if we look at this on the robot character, we can get fairly high up without hitting that connection. And if we bring it over, it's a pretty good fit, but it's also pretty high on the character's waist. And another thing is to really get all of the character width-wise to fit in there. You have to make the prop kind of large, and then it ends up sticking out a little bit in front. So these are just things that you have to deal with. A lot of the time what I'll do is, let me attach this real quick. I'm not going to be real precise with this. It's just as an example. So let's leave that there. And then I'll use something like the Space Marine helmet. And this is another good piece because it's fairly uniform and it will get pretty small. Okay, so I'll just take those. I'm going to scale them up a little bit, and this is not going to be perfect. I'm just going to do it real quick as an example. And these, now let's do root. So you get something like that where combined and colored, it just gives a little bit more shape. And you'll see that here on Master Chief. I do something fairly similarly. And then also on the Renguard character. If you combine 3 or 5 props in the waist area, generally you can cover up his shorts fairly well. And I think that really for that particular area is the main goal. I failed to do that a little bit here on Master Chief. If you happen to have the opportunity to be able to color the character's underwear the same color as his skin, then it works out okay. But that's not often going to be the case, especially here with Master Chief, since it's black and black, completely black. That's a different story. If this were all flesh colored and his underpants were flesh colored, then it would look a little odd. And you can see with the Renguard character here, he's gray and gray, and it's a little bit better covered up. And since a lot of the clothing is kind of grayish, that works too. I didn't have to deal with that really with Darth Vader because he's wearing clothes. He's the only one out of the bunch that is not naked. Let's get rid of that. Okay, and then let's move on to the head real quick. And I think I can illustrate what I was talking about with the problems between the head and the neck with another light bulb. This is, like I said, it's not a prop that you're going to use very often in these capacities. Maybe you could make an entire character out of a light bulb. But I haven't seen it. Anyway, let's attach this to the head. Instead of Sword Man, you can have Light Bulb Man, and I don't know what the game will do in that instance. Okay, let's attach this to the head. And here you can also see what I was talking about, where you want to wait until the character has its arms down to actually attach the item, because now it's gotten all out of sorts. It's just going to be more of a pain to get it straight again. Excuse me. Okay, so there you have that. That's on pretty straight, and his face is on there pretty well. We can see his face. Most of his head is covered up by that. And just to illustrate the point further, let's take his hair out. Yeah, so that covers him up pretty well. Now you can see when he's yawning, even though this covers his head and his neck, the light bulb back here is sticking out. And that's what you have to overcome. And the reason that's happening is because the light bulb is just too long. And your pivot point is up here. And so what I do to make up for that, well, you can do a couple things. One, like on Master Chief here, you can just not have a neck piece. Or if you look at the Renguard character here, what I do is I use a marine helmet, and it still does poke out, but since it has kind of a rounded bottom, it looks like it's rotating in place rather than poking out. So you just have to figure, or another thing you could do is, you could do something like this, but since it's not real bad on the back, if you had a larger piece on the back, let's say that this were a little bit bigger and a little higher. Then that might just cover up all that. See, and that doesn't look too bad. So it's just that oval area there right at the base of his neck. And you can see you're going to have problems there with his neck poking out in the front when he does his stupid yawn animation. And those are things that you just have to figure out. Another way would be to put something here right at the base of his neck. And you would probably do that anyway in making a torso.